Hi, it's Dr Natalie of Dr GoFigure, and in case you're wondering how you're just tuning in and it's episode 11 already, well, the first 10 episodes are all given away as part of the Dr GoFigure programme. However, it doesn't mean that you can't get hold of it, it's just very special content. So if you're interested, there is a link in the description in the video below where you can click on and join in all the fun that we had in the first 10 episodes. But you're very welcome, of course, to just start from episode 11, and you'll always just be in the dark about what happened previously. This week's episode is all about the importance of lean muscle mass. Now, if you are anything like me, I have been focused about being nice and slim and equating being nice and slim with being fit and healthy. And do you know what? For years and years and years, that kind of worked. That equation worked. If you kept yourself slim, generally speaking, you were quite healthy. But what I've noticed as I've got older is keeping slim doesn't necessarily mean I'm putting myself in the best position to age well. I remember when I was younger, I've always been sort of quite fit and healthy and active, and I always loved the fact that I had, quite a high basal metabolic rate for my age and weight and size and all of those things. And I thought it's because I just was, so busy doing a million things all the time and keeping myself slim. And what's happened more recently, and especially because I've been doing all this research into the Dr GoFigure program, and of course now we've got this amazing 3D body scanner, I've realised that actually my basal metabolic rate, which is how many calories I would need if I was just going to stay in bed all day long, is actually low. And the reason it's low is because my lean muscle mass has diminished. And looking ahead for the rest of my life, if I carry on with this loss of muscle, it really does not bode well for how I want to age, and we're going to get into that right now. So why is lean muscle so important? Well, I made the mistake when I was younger that if I wanted to lose weight, I would just cut calories. And I think most of us have done this because that's what's been drilled into us from the diet industry and even from doctors. They just said, well, calories in and exercise is basically how you're going to affect your weight. So I was quite programmed to think, well, if I reduce my calories, then I could just lose that little bit of weight and that's fine. But what most people make the mistake of doing is that if you reduce your calories and you reduce your weight, in all likelihood, you're not just losing fat, but you're going to lose lean muscle too. Now, think about lean muscle as your engine, okay? Your lean muscle needs calories. Your fat does not need any calories at all. So if you went on a diet and you managed to lose, say, a stone, 50% of that may well be fat, but 50% of that may well be lean muscle. When you lose your lean muscle, it means you don't need as many calories in the future. And this is where we get into this whole issue of yo-yo dieting, because you lose your lean muscle, you lose the engine. All of a sudden, when you go back off your diet and you start eating normally again, you don't need the same amount of calories anymore because you've lost a lot of lean muscle. So you'll go back to eating normally and you'll find that you put the weight back on. So preserving and maintaining, and actually what I'm trying to do now is grow my lean muscle, because I can see how vitally important it is for me to age well. So let's get down to the nitty-gritty. What is the lean body mass? Well, it's basically absolutely everything in your body that isn't fat. So it's your bones, it's your organs, it's your muscles, it's your tendons. Now, the way that we measure it, there's some, not particularly complicated, but there's ways of measuring your basal metabolic rate. And if you do the GoFigure program, you'll get put on an amazing 3D machine and it will tell you what your basal metabolic rate is. But the only true way that we can affect our basal metabolic rate is by building lean muscle. So I am on a serious mission now to build my lean muscle. And the reasons I want more lean muscle are, going forward, having more muscle is going to improve my balance. Did you know that, this is a pretty horrible statistic, but an elderly patient, if they fell over and broke their hip, I think it was something like probably going to die within that year. That's how catastrophic a fall can be as we get into our old age. So I think it's in all of our interests to preserve and maintain and build lean muscle, because that in itself is going to improve balance. Your lean muscle also improves your bone density. So your bone density is obviously vitally important. If you think about that elderly person that's taken a tumble, they took a tumble possibly because their balance wasn't very good anymore, and their hip broke because their bone density was poor. The only way that we can improve bone density going forward is that we have to do plenty of exercise. We have to build our lean muscles, and we have to do weight-bearing exercises. And that is definitely all part of the GoFigure program. So there's two massive reasons why we really need to be looking after our muscle mass. Also, it's going to massively improve your posture. You've all seen those little old ladies and little old men, and they're so stooped over and they don't have a lot of energy anymore. And of course, it's an aging process, but we can age better. And having more lean muscle is going to keep you more upright, more straight, and actually allow you to age with more energy. It's also really important for diabetes. Now, we've spoken about diabetes in a number of podcasts before, and I thought, you know what, I've talked about diabetes as if we all are experts in it, and of course we're not experts in diabetes at all. And a lot of us know it's something to do with high blood sugars, which it is. But what diabetes can do to the body is absolutely ravage it. And that's the truth. Diabetes is probably far more damaging to your health than anybody really acknowledges. So people who have got diabetes and haven't been able to get good control over their blood sugars are potentially likely to lose sight, because the high blood sugars are going to affect their eyesight. They might end up having poor sensations in their hands and feet, as it ruins the nerves. There are people who will have amputations because of diabetes. They'll go into kidney failure because of diabetes. It increases your stroke risk. Diabetes is an appalling, awful disease, but it's, for most of us, reversible and treatable. But we don't want to get there. Now, having more lean muscle, it will protect you against diabetes, because the role of insulin is, you eat something that's got high sugar, then the pancreas will secrete the insulin, and the insulin is supposed to pack the sugar into your muscles. If you've got more lean muscle, then you're going to basically you're making the job of the insulin easier. And there was a massive study done by UCLA, and I think, to be honest, I've forgotten how many people they looked at, but it was a big study. And they found that for every 10% of muscle that somebody can put on, they reduce their risk of diabetes by 11%. It's really significant. So having the lean muscle will also protect you against diabetes. And another reason why lean muscle is super important to us is because if your body becomes unwell and you have a disease, or if you have to heal yourself, your body will basically start needing a lot more protein than you're probably giving it through its daily diet. So what's essentially happening is it will start to take the protein out of your muscles. So people who've been ill for a long time, you will see that they look quite shrunken and shriveled, and they look a lot weaker. And it's because over time your body has basically been pulling out that lean muscle, pulling out the protein from the lean muscle in order to try and heal itself through whatever disease process it's going through. So looking after yourself and having more lean muscle is going to massively impact your life going forward. And hopefully, if you ever do come across some terrible, nasty illness, you've got more reserves to fight it. So there's a million reasons why we ought to be looking after ourselves and building our lean muscle. I hope I've convinced you. So if you're probably thinking, well, what do I do next? How to build lean muscle? Well, it's basically doing things like strength training, going to the gym. Obviously, we do the EMS here, which is the electromuscle stimulation. So all of those components are vital. But it's also about making sure that nutritionally you're getting what you need. And again, if you do the GoFigure program, then we will sit you down with the nutritionist who will go through everything and give you basically what you can eat in a day. So when you're trying to build muscle, you'll be delighted to know, generally speaking, you do need more calories. You can't build muscles on a calorie-restricted diet. We do need more calories, but we need the right kind of calories. And we do need to be fairly protein-heavy while we're trying to build muscle. So things to think about in your diet would be eggs. You all know about the weightlifter, and they have about 10,000 omelettes every day, and chicken breasts and tuna and salmon, because these are all amazing sources of protein. But also you've got the beans, you've got the kidney beans and the black beans and things like that. They're also terrific sources of protein and fibre too. So just be more mindful about, if you are thinking that you want to lose weight, please don't just suddenly cut the calories and think that just because you've lost a bit of weight and you look slimmer that you're on the road to great health. Really, the Holy Grail, as I see it now, should be about building that lean muscle. It is the engine of your body, and it's going to keep you fitter and stronger for the rest of your life. So as always, I love to give a little bit of weekly homework, and this week's homework is actually have a look at your diet. What is it you're actually eating? And there's so much information out there, but you could also have a look at macros. So in terms of trying to build lean muscle mass, how much protein should you be having? How many carbohydrates should you be having? Because now I've sat through and done this with Nisha, our amazing nutritionist and EMS expert here, I've realised that I am actually allowed more calories because I am really focused about building lean muscle. So sitting down to do the macros wasn't nearly as depressing as I thought it would be, is what I'm trying to say to you. So go and find out, have fun with it. Obviously, if you are on the GoFigure program, please speak to Nisha or one of our experts. So we'd love to help you. So until next week, have a very happy and healthy week. Remember, if you like what you see, then please like, share and follow, and you can keep up to date with absolutely everything that we do.